Hello and welcome back to another Euro Fantasy video. Today we are doing the team selection for Matchday 2, and if you are unaware, if this is your first video that you're watching from me, this is going to be the week that I use the wildcard chip, so unlimited transfers to completely swap this team round for that I had in Matchday 1 for a brand new team in Matchday 2. Now we are looking at this team because I wanted to go over how I got on in Matchday 1, and as you can see by the scores, it's not really went too well. You can see by the rank as well how good the game week has went, and it's really not been successful whatsoever for me. So we're sitting at 1.8 million, and we've really only had one return from anyone so far. I actually think we literally have had one return, or no, two, because Sobazlai picked up an assist. So Verts is the only person who has done well for me so far. Everyone else has picked up 3 points, 2 points, 0 points. So it's been really, really poor. But to be fair, the whole game is probably struggling because there's really not that many players that have scored more than 10 points. So you would have had to get really lucky to get a lot of those guys in. So this is how things are doing. Defence has been terrible. If you watched Matchday 1 team selection, I was really banking on the Netherlands clean sheet and the Italy clean sheet. Italy obviously conceded within 25 seconds, and that was totally out the window with DiMarco and Di Lorenzo. And then Poland, I was not expecting to score due to how well the Netherlands defence had done in friendlies and the fact that Poland had no fit strikers, and then they ended up scoring as well. So that was not ideal. And again, 3 points basically round the board for those guys. Mittelstadt, done okay, 3 points, no real complaints about him. He had the chance to pick up an assist, he had a couple of shots as well, so I'll definitely be sticking with him in the wild card for Matchday 2. In terms of the midfield, we've still got 2 more players to play. As of tonight, the Turkey game has not kicked off yet, so we have Çalhanoğlu and Bruno Fernandes, and Bruno Fernandes is my final chance at getting some captaincy points. If you watched Matchday 1 again, Matchday 1 team selection, I captained Mittelstadt in day 1. It was, I believe, Van Dijk I captained in day 2 over Harry Kane. Day 3 was, I'm trying to work out who it is. So it was DiMarco in day 2, Van Dijk in day 3, and then I captained Lukaku yesterday, who could have literally had a 40 plus pointer, and that obviously didn't happen, and he ended up getting 2, which was very, very, very sad. I was quite looking forward to Højbjerg's performance. I think by the time it got halfway through, or by the time we got to half time, Højbjerg was in 5 ball recoveries already. Then half time started and they took one of those away, so we were down to 4 ball recoveries at half time, and then he only picked up 1 more in the second half and then get taken off with 10 minutes to go. So we only got 1 point for ball recoveries, which wasn't ideal either. So really looking at everyone in this team, it has been a massive, massive disappointment. 37 points in total so far. So a big performance from Bruno Fernandes and a big performance from Çalhanoğlu is needed. So as I said, we are using the wildcard this game week, which means we get a full new team heading into Matchday 2. And this is the way I want to go with the defence. Now, starting in goals, we are going for 2 4 million goalkeepers, because now that we have had Matchday 1 pass, we are getting an idea of who the cheap goalkeepers are. And in my opinion, especially for the wildcard this week, we definitely want to be getting 2 4 million goalkeepers in, because they're always a steal. And as you can see by some of the more expensive goalkeepers this week, the likes of Verbruggen, Lunin really picking up no points, whereas a lot of the cheaper guys, even like Nita, who started in goal for Romania, picked up a clean sheet. But there's really no differences in what the goalkeepers can get. Even goalkeepers who keep clean sheets are only getting 6-7 points. Obviously the one player who didn't would have been Unai Simon, but he saved a penalty as well, so that doesn't really count as much. So we're going for 2 4 million goalkeepers, and we're going for the Austria keeper in Pence and the Czech Republic keeper in Stanek. Now, also, my short list is going to be Rajkovic from Serbia, because if you can see by the clean sheet odds on the screen here, Serbia are the 4th highest likely for a clean sheet, and if he's going to start in goals again over Milinkovic-Savic, he could be a really, really nice option. In that way, I'm getting 2 4 million goalkeepers, and both of them are in the top 5 for clean sheet odds. So could be a really nice double up there. I'm just not sure if he is going to start over Milinkovic-Savic. I don't really know what the reasoning why he did was so far. So we'll see. I think that's one that I could definitely make a switch for by the time the deadline comes round tomorrow. For the defenders, now you can see Akanji and Fass both in there, both out in the wide. Now Akanji, again, you saw by the clean sheet odds, has a pretty decent chance of a clean sheet. It's still above 30%, and his ball recoveries were absolutely fantastic in Matchday 1. Now I can pull up the ball recoveries from Matchday 1, and this is the top 10. Now Akanji was joint first with 11 ball recoveries, which is nearly 4 points that he gained from those ball recoveries, and you can see Fass on there who picked up 9 as well. So even though these guys weren't keeping clean sheets, obviously Hungary scored against Switzerland and Slovakia scored against Belgium, they're still picking up 5 points. I believe Akanji picked up 6, maybe 7, and even when you're not keeping clean sheets, there's still a really good avenue to points. So if you don't believe in the ball recoveries yet, hopefully do now, because these guys are absolutely brilliant for it. So that's the reason I'm going for those two. The other three, Mittelstadt, again, as I spoke about, I do think Germany, I do absolutely think he's the best Germany defender. Didn't get a lot of ball recoveries compared to the other guys like Ta and Rudiger, but the attack and return that he can offer definitely makes him worthy of a place in the team. Then obviously with Sutalo and Stanisic, 2 5 million Croatian defenders. Now the problem with the Croatian defenders is I'm not really too sure on who is going to start. I think Stanisic is prone to some sort of rotation with Juranovic. Sutalo I think is absolutely nailed, which is why I've got him in there, and he got more ball recoveries than Vardiol did in the previous match. Vardiol did still look pretty decent for ball recoveries in the friendly. He is just an extra 0.5 million to the other two. And I think Stanisic and Sutalo both picked up a decent amount in Matchday 1. So we've got those guys in there. Again, I can pull the clean sheet odds up, and Croatia are number 1 with over a 50% chance of keeping a clean sheet. So I do think the Croatian double up in defence does look pretty worth it. And again, you can see Germany in there at number 2, which even further makes Mittelstadt look like a pretty decent option. Now, looking at our midfielders that we have chosen, I've went for the double up in Germany, and as I've been saying, I do think Gundogan is going to be one of the better German midfielders for the entire tournament. He picked up 5 points throughout Matchday 1, obviously won a penalty as well, which gained him an extra 2 points. So I do think he could be a really decent option. I do think he is still on the penalties. Obviously Havertz took the penalty in Matchday 1, I think mainly because Gundogan's foot was still sore from the challenge, is what I've been hearing anyway. So as far as I know, Gundogan should still be on those penalties, and as much as I would like to have Musiala in the team, he obviously looked really nice in Matchday 1 as well. I think when you're on the wild card, it's probably worth saving that extra 1.5 million and just going for Gundogan instead. So we're going for the double Germany attack. Again, I can pull up the goal odds for Matchday 2, and Germany are sitting in second place with that, with an expected 2.4 goals. These stats are all from 11ify as well. Their link will be in the description if you want to check that out. They do have the clean sheet odds and goal scoring odds and stuff like that as well, so it is quite useful. And obviously the double Germany, but technically a double Germany attack, because these two are technically attackers with Wirtz and Gundogan, so we're going for those guys as well. Obviously we've got Kevin De Bruyne in there as well. I think it just does look like a really nice option. Obviously you've seen Belgium in there as well in the top 5 list for goal scoring odds, and I think even though Romania done very well against Ukraine in the first leg, you still can't ignore the fact that it is still a good fixture on paper, and obviously De Bruyne is a very high quality player, and I do think he is probably worth a gamble in Matchday 2. Then we've also got Bruno Fernandes and Jude Bellingham in there as well. Again, we're still yet to see how Bruno Fernandes gets on in the Euros as his game plays tonight, as of me recording this. But again, Portugal, you saw there, was the top of the goal scoring odds, so I do think the double Portugal attack is going to be worth it as well, and you will see that with the strikers. So that means we're going to have double Portugal in attack, we're also going to have the double Germany in attack, and we're also going to have the double Belgium in attack, which again you're just about to see. So that's going to be a double attack from all 3 of the top odds for goal scoring. And then as we take a look at Jude Bellingham as well, now my reasoning for having him, obviously he done pretty decently in Matchday 1. England are playing Denmark in Matchday 2. My main reasoning for having this guy in is because of these fixtures. Now this is the two of the 4 fixture days for Matchday 2, and we've got some difficult options for captaincies here. I think it is going to be quite difficult to pick up a decent captaincy. On Thursday, we have Slovenia and we've got Serbia. Now, it's two teams that probably don't have obvious captains. Maybe you could go for Vlahovic. Maybe you could go for one of the more Slovenian players. Obviously, Kornichnik, I'm not really too sure how you say his name. He picked up a lot of ball recoveries on Matchday 1. He could be an option if you wanted to go there in defence. But realistically, you're not going to pick a Spain player, you're not going to pick an Italy player, especially on a wild card. It just is too hard of a fixture, which leaves us with Denmark and it leaves us with England. So I've decided to go for Jude Bellingham in midfield, and I'm going to be leaving out Harry Kane in attack. And speaking of the attackers, these are the three that we're going for, and that's going to be Ronaldo, Lukaku and Dovbyk. So again, as I said, the double Belgium attack and the double Portugal attack, because they are so high for expected goals. So obviously those two don't really need much of an explanation. I think the fact that Lukaku got so many chances for Belgium means that I'm going to give him a second chance for the match against Romania. And again, similar to De Bruyne, he does have a lot of quality where he could do really well in that match. But moreover, the main focus point here of this attack is going to be Dovbyk. So again, as we were speaking about those captaincy days, you can see on Friday as well, with the fact that it looks like Mbappe is 100% going to be out for the Netherlands game due to his broken nose. We don't really have another obvious captaincy for that Friday. Now, I've decided to go for Dovbyk because I think he still looks like a really good option. And again, we're talking about a game against Slovakia here. Now, obviously, they just kept a clean sheet against Belgium, but if we are going to bring up the stats from that match, they did still concede a lot of chances. Now, obviously, Lukaku missed basically all of them, and the ones he did score got ruled out. You can still see the amount of chances that Slovakia were conceding. Now, we are looking at 16 total shots, 5 of those on target, and obviously 4 big chances conceded. And you can see just below where those shots were taken from. So you're talking at least 10 shots from inside the box. And obviously, you could argue that Ukraine don't have the same quality that Belgium do when it comes to attacking, but I still think it's enough for me to go for Dovbyk. And I really do, as if you've been watching the previous videos, I do really like him as an option, and he was someone that I was going to consider. So I'm not really going to let a 3-0 defeat to Romania really affect my decision making. I do still think he could be a really good option for Matchday 2, and potentially even more of a better option with so many people probably being put off by the Ukraine performance. I do think he could be a bit of a differential as well. So that is going to be the full team. In terms of captaincies, obviously I already spoke about having those guys covered, but these are the 4 that I'm looking to go for. Tempted to give Mittelstadt another chance as the captain. Again, pretty decent clean sheet odds for Germany, and obviously my main reasoning, I think with Ukraine, with Hungary, sorry. Obviously, Abishur done really well from left wing back up against Hungary, so they seem to do really well off the left. So that's one of my reasons for going for Wirtz, and also Mittelstadt as well. Now, he's obviously playing as the left back, so I think he could get a lot more chances as well. I think Hungary kind of need to make sure that they try to get a point in as well after losing the first game to Switzerland, so I think they're going to be a lot more attacking, and I think Germany's going to have a pretty decent chance of creating a lot of chances, and I think Mittelstadt could be involved in most of them. Obviously, we've got Jude Bellingham for day 2. Now, this was between, obviously, Bellingham and Kane. I do think Bellingham is kind of on par with Kane in terms of options for England, at least. Kane always seems to struggle a bit more in the group stages, and obviously Kane is on penalties as well. But in order to fit Dovbyk in for my day 3 captain, I thought Bellingham is probably just as good. I mentioned it, I think, in the wildcard video as well. It was either Bellingham and Dovbyk or Sudakov and Kane. and I really think the Bellingham Dovbyk partnership is just a little bit better. Then of course we have Ronaldo in day 4 for the captaincy against Turkey. So that is what I'm going for right now. Again, there will be a deadline stream tomorrow just before the deadline, which is at 2 o'clock. So we'll have basically an afternoon stream as we head into the deadline. So any changes that are going to be made to this team will obviously talk about on the deadline stream. So that is going to end off this video. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to leave a like. Please make sure to subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you all in the next one.